Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Politi from the Star-Ledger, joined as always by our beleaguered and tired Rutgers beat writer, Tom Luicci. It's been a long season, getting longer for the Scarlet Knights for the second straight week. We're here after a loss. Last week it was West Virginia, which I thought was a bad loss because it showed how far Rutgers had to go to get to the top. This one against Connecticut, you can make an argument it's even worse because I thought that Rutgers had leapfrogged Connecticut. And now it certainly looks like the Huskies are once again ahead of them in the Big East. What do you think about that?
Well, I would agree. I mean, it was a very winnable game, even though I didn't think they were going to win the game. As I said here last week, I thought it would be a little low scoring, but there were opportunities to be had. You know, I thought if Rutgers had played well, they would have won the game. The special teams were awful. You know, we asked Greg how he was going to deal with Tyvon Branch, the Connecticut kick returner, before the game. He said he had a plan. 184 yards and 97-yard touchdown later. We're still waiting to see what the plan is. But, you know, and the block punt was an issue. So it was one of those things, too. It was weird because I keep writing about how this offense is so productive and you know, one of the best in Rutgers history. But it's too bad that the end zone isn't in midfield because they're great between the 20s. They just can't score in the red zone. But it was to me, that just underscored the ongoing issues that this team has.
It seems like it's just typical. Tyquan Underwood will have 11 catches, but he won't have the one catch he needs. I mean, it just seems like that's typical of this team. And you had mentioned Greg having a plan. He told you this week that this is his finest coaching job. And to me, X's and O's wise, I could sit here and think of at least a dozen examples where this team wasn't prepared or had the wrong play. I can think of a play against Cincinnati where the defense wasn't even on the field when Cincinnati was running for 25 yards. I mean, when he said something like that, what was your first thought?
I was surprised. I really was surprised because I think the one game that I think he did an excellent coaching job in this year was the South Florida game.
Yes,
that was the game they were most prepared for. And to sort of invoke the name of Vince Lombardi, the only thing I could think of is that he wants a rest stop named after him on the turnpike. You know, because when we're talking about X's and O's, you're talking about the Cincinnati game, the Maryland. Maryland could wind up 4-8. It could be a team that they could have beaten. I don't want to hear that they overpowered them. There are ways to, you know, to compensate for a team that's stronger than you. I mean, there's a lot of misdirection. Rutgers is supposed to have speed. I can't think of one area on this team, with the exception of the wide receivers, where we've said that they've lived up to expectations.
Right. What bothers me about that, too, is in this position, Greg should be the one deflecting the criticism off the players. When you say the coaching is fine, when you say coaching is fine, then you're putting it back on them, because what else could it be? It's either recruiting, and I think you can all say he's done a very good job recruiting, or it's mistakes in the field, and you want to put the onus on your players.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. Like I say, I was a little bit surprised, and you know, and as you mentioned, there's been a couple of games where you just scratch your head and say, you know, again, the Florida game, we saw their South Florida game, we saw their potential. And then to come out and to lose the games like they have.
Well, 5-4 heading into the Army game. We talk about bowls again, and luckily, for the first time, we have an exclusive footage of where Rutgers will go bowl-wise if they lose another game. John, can we cue that up very quickly, the exclusive footage of... yeah.
And by the way, I think I see Glenn Foley in the background there. I don't know if you remember the BC quarterback.
You know, it's actually a nice road trip this time of year when you're heading down to the toilet bowl.
Well,
in all seriousness, no. At 5-4, they've got 3 winnable games left. What do you think is where we're headed?
I think they have a chance to go to the Meineke Bowl. I still think that because I think the final 3 games are all winnable. I mean, they're going to beat Army. I don't think there's any question. So that gets them to 6. They're probably going to beat Pittsburgh at home, you know, because Pittsburgh is very one-dimensional. All they can do is run the ball with LaShawn McCoy. And then you get Louisville. You know, who knows which Louisville team's going to show up at the end of the year. And you know, when you think about this, Steve, they could finish the year 8-4, win a bowl game, go 9-4. And we're talking about what a bad season Rutgers had when they went 9-4. I think 10 years ago, if Rutgers had gone 9-4, they would have already had the statue up for Greg.
Right. I still think it's a step back, but you're right. If they beat an ACC team in a bowl game, you make an argument there.
I would agree that it's a step back because of a couple of factors. I mean, one is that they were number 10 in the country at one point. The other is they had 8 home games. And the third is they had a schedule that was built for success. So getting 9 wins out of this, everybody thought 11 was certainly within reach, is a little disappointing.
Right. Okay, well, Army game, you have a prediction for us in this one?
Oh, I don't think this is going to be pretty at all, and I think Ray Rice may go for 200 yards. I'm going to say 38-10.
Right. If one thing Rutgers has done well, it's beat bad teams. I'll have to go with you on that. I'm going to say 35-14. Once again, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.